Hey, babe. You can come out.
Oh, no, still a note.
Oh, that's awesome. I would love to take him out for a spin. Hello YouTube, and welcome to my video this week. This week I'm very excited to share with you some news about my life. We are closing a chapter and opening up a new one. My last day at my current position is this upcoming Friday. Today is June 1st. I start my new role a week later, so I have this whole week off in between jobs. And I'm tired of talking about adventuring and not being about adventuring. So now it's time to take a jump into the bikepacking realm and actually cover some serious distances while on the bike carrying a ton of gear. So let's get into the trip details. So my home is in Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh is the state capital of North Carolina. A lot of people think it's Charlotte because Charlotte has most of the professional sports teams like NFL and NBA. But Raleigh has the Hurricanes, and that's why it's the state capital. I will be biking all the way from Raleigh to Winston-Salem, which is where I used to live before I moved to Raleigh. And then I'll be going from Winston-Salem to where I'm from, which is Boone, North Carolina, which is where my family still currently lives. And then I will be going from Boone to Linville Gorge, which is where I'll be meeting up with my friend Matt, and we will be doing a bikepacking route through Linville Gorge. So Raleigh to Winston, it's going to be over 125 miles. Winston to Boone will be over 96, probably another 100-miler day. Boone to Linville Gorge will only be about 33 to 34, I think, but if I get a few stops, then it might be over. And then the bikepacking route through Linville Gorge will be about 36 to 37 miles for a total of 291 miles. Once again, with stops, this could be over a 300-mile week between Sunday and Thursday. So this is my Fujijari 2017, and it's the Fujijari 1.5. So if you are new to the channel, this is the bike that I pretty much use for everything. I do have a road bike, so I'll use those for crit races and stuff, but this is my gravel bike, my cyclocross bike, my adventure bike. So there's some new changes that actually happened and took place. I had to get a new rotor in the back. I swapped out the brake pads. I got a new cassette and a new chain, and so with the new cassette, my gear ratio is a 42 up front, and then the grainy gear in the back will be a 36, and then go down the line, and it's a 1x11. So it's a fantastic bike, but I wanted to make sure everything was as up to date as possible, especially for this big of a trip. I don't need anything to go wrong. But so this bike comes in at a whopping 21.4 pounds. So we are going to load all the stuff on the bike and see how much it weighs, and then we're going to talk about how we distributed the weight and where we placed everything. So let's do it. All right, so let's go over the bags first. So for the half frame bag, we're going with the waterproof Northseven bag. And I use this for a lot of my century rides, for races like Manduro, where I need a lot of food and I can put tools on one side and all this other stuff. Like I have some quick links and Schrader valve conversion. So it's nice to have this here, but it is waterproof. And so I intertwined the straps around the frame with this top tube Northseven bag, so they kind of sync up together. It looks really cool, and they're the same brand. This one is not waterproof, so this one I use for food. This one I'll use for some other food, but this is going to have, because it's on the inside of the frame, it's going to have a lot of weight on it, because you want the weight in the middle of the bike, so if you turn, it doesn't throw or shift the weight and then make you crash. So 2 Northseven bags. I have this bag, which is a Moosetreks bag, and it's for a bottle, but I use it for electronics and stuff because I can just cinch it up tight and then unloosen it with one hand. And then also too, like I have my inhaler, hand sanitizer, pocket knife, tool, lenses for my glasses, like clear, and then I have pepper spray just in case. You don't know if there's any dogs or anything around. I have been chased by plenty of dogs, and there's numerous times I wish I had just a little something to get me away from it. And then the other two, so I have the front handlebar bag. This is a Roswell bag. It is waterproof, as you can tell. It rolls up very small, and it's very light. The Roswell attack bag, It's really cool. And then it also, you can put a bunch of different straps on it and hook other stuff to it. So maybe a tarp or sandals or whatever. And then last bag we are going to have is this other Roswell bag. And this is the extended saddle bag, which once it's packed down and rolled up, it works as a fender too, as you can tell. So it's a really good bag. The Roswell bags and the Northseven bags, oh actually, and the Moosetreks bag are all Amazon finds. And they are very cheap. I'll put a link to all those in the description below. They have all been fantastic. And they all are really cheap. So if you're looking at any type of bags for bikepacking, look at those because they're cheap, usable, functional, and they work great. So there's the bags. All right, so stuff we were taking on the trip. I have this here. These are all my tools. I have like an Allen wrench. I have more straps. I have a tire lever. I have patches in here under the lid. So there's a bunch of other things that you can do when you're backpacking to minimize on weight and space, like condensing a bunch of tools and stuff. This is going to go on the bottom of the bike. So that will alleviate some space so I don't have to put it in my bags, but it will still take the weight of this and keep it on the frame, which is nice. And so we have like some stands because we went tubeless. That's another thing that I did to the bike. I went tubeless and so far so good, no issues. Speaking of condensing, you can barely see, but I have my stakes and my bivy rods are wrapped up in the tarp, and then that goes on the front handlebar bag. And then I have all my clothes bundled up together to fit inside the front handlebar bag. And yeah, I think besides other stuff, like I have my sleeping pad wrapped up in my bivy too, and then that's gonna go on the back bag. But everything else is pretty straightforward. Like I got my toothbrush and stuff, charging blocks, tubes just in case, food, headlamp, stuff to start a fire. I mean, stuff you would take camping, my Bible, my wallet, a tube of chamois cream. I mean, I have the works like you would expect with any backpacking, bikepacking, camping trip. But apparently we're going very minimalistic because we have to go like 200 and some miles before we even get to a bikepacking route. I just didn't want to carry all that weight up a mountain. I have the last climb going into Boone is a huge climb. So the less weight, the better. And this bike, because of all the changes that were made at Trek, so thank you Corey and everyone at Trek at Holly Park, this rides like a brand new bike and it is awesome. So let's start packing bags and then weigh the bike and see how much it weighs. Okay, so the bike with just the bags, the only bags that have stuff on it are this with the sanitizer, pepper spray, knife, whatever. And then this under bottle cage with all the tools and tubes and stuff. This bike now weighs 25.6 pounds. So in the front Roswell bag, it fastens in here. It's waterproof and it Velcros into, I guess, the harness. But so in here is where I'm going to keep my microfiber towel, my clothes, my down jacket, my other kit I'll be changing in and out of each day, and the clothes I'm gonna sleep in. But then everything else will go into the back frame bag and the main frame bag. And so that's all she wrote. And then along with the bag, we are going to put the tarp and the rods in here. So that's good. So we got the tarp for the tent and all my clothes. And it's plenty far off from the tire that it's not gonna rub, but it's strapped to the actual frame and the handlebars. For this one, we are going to put food and a few other essentials like pocket knife, multi-tool. But in the top bar bag, I can't remember what these are called, but besides the top bar bag, we're going to put more food because this is not waterproof, and if it gets wet, all my food will be in a wrapper anyway, so it doesn't even matter. and besides a tripod. But we'll put the food in here and other non-essential stuff that doesn't matter if it gets wet. Half mid-frame bag, this is where we want most of the heavy items. So it keeps the weight on the frame and it doesn't shift when you go into a turn, which is very dangerous. So this is where all the weight's going. Let's see, we're gonna put our coffee, our drink mix, and our charging cables in here as well, because this bag is waterproof, but also we just want to keep all this stuff together in the bags because we don't want to take up other space, and we need to access it easier, especially if we make coffee or something. We can just get into the bag real quick instead of having to dig everything out and then repack these bags. So that's all we are going to put in the half mid-frame bag. So the last bag we have is the extended saddle bag. And so for this, all we have left is our sleeping bag bivy, medical kit, dry bag, our toiletries, toothpaste, wipes, suntan lotion, all that stuff, chamois cream, and our bivy. And so the trick that you do is you wrap up your sleeping pad in the bivy so it condenses so you don't take up as much space. And so we're gonna put the bivy in first to take up all the weight and all the space inside. You wanna keep the heaviest things, once again, as close to the bike. I can't stress that enough. And then we're just gonna start filling around it. Dry bag, bivy, and first aid kit. Toiletries. We have a stands. I don't know where I'm gonna put the stands actually. Stand sealant. I'll just ride with it. But the chamois cream is gonna go up top too. Different bags, of course, are different in how they are made. But so after doing a few test rides with my buddy and myself, we are going to cross these up to keep it constantly up and it won't sag. We've got a bend right in there, but we can compress this down a lot. And then we're also going to put the sandals. I have a clip up here. We're going to keep the sandals up here as well. We are going to pack it. The other things we have, of course, that's going to go on the bike is the Garmin, which is the 820, Bible, and my Oroku case wallet, which I'll have cash, wallet, keys. And if it rains, I'll put my phone in there as well. So now let's get everything up, weigh it, and see how much the bike weighs, calculate the difference, and then take it for a test run. Okay, so now the bike weighs 40.3 pounds. So it originally came in at 21.6, 40.3, so like 18-pound difference, which is still kind of crazy. Yeah, that's actually kind of wild because I thought it was gonna be more. I honestly thought I was gonna have like 30 pounds of bike stuff on it. And if I had my back rack with panniers on it, I would. But because I'm going minimalistic and light, makes sense that it's only 18 pounds, so I'm really happy with this. It will fluctuate, especially based off of food. And when I get to Linville Gorge, I will change what I have, like a camping stove and all that stuff, so I have to move some stuff around and shift and maybe leave some stuff at the car. But this is the setup to get me up to Linville Gorge, so knock on wood, hopefully it works. We have no issues, no flats. First bike packing trip, let's go. Let's see what happens.